Krisiun's Forged in Fury, which is the follow-up to The Great Execution, which was highly regarded by a lot of individuals, while others were a little bit confused by it, considering the band had expanded their classically rendered death metal sound out of Brazil to include a more mid-range, to actually expand some of the horizons and not go as fast as humanly possible throughout every single track, which I feel is kind of unfair, because I remember some of their stuff off of old Identity CDs that you got from Century Media, I think it was, and I don't think that they were going fast as fuck at all times, but whatever. We need to talk about Forged in Fury, not The Great Execution. So that's those Identity CDs I remember specifically for this band because, for one, it was my first exposure to them. This was about 15 years ago, so the band has been going at it for 25. But it always seemed like they had a song on those Identity albums. I think only whenever we got to the last one or two, maybe there was not a Krisiun song on there because they were in the midst of touring and writing. But this was a group that always seemed like they had a lot of potential to be a fantastic death metal band, and that potential has really been realized. They are seen as a pretty important group down in Brazil, and they have certainly been exposed to Americans and been exposed to the rest of the world, but I don't think that they have had quite the exposure that they deserve. Forged in Fury is an album that, unlike The Great Execution, does not eclipse the 1 hour mark, but still maintains that two-tone philosophy of having a fast as all get out side to this group, as well as having a mid-range, so that much hasn't shifted up all of that much. What really has shifted up is the execution here. Now, Krisiun's always been a band that's been known for their lyricism, which tackles anything from religion to barbarianism to some of the other atrocities of humanity. And it's certainly one that exposes these flaws and really showcases mankind's ensnarement and slavery to some of these items. I mean, whenever you think about songs such as Dogma of Submission, you immediately think of how religion does exactly that to so many individuals, holds them down or holds them back, at least in the eyes of a lot of individuals, principally based around the concept of control. And then you get into other tracks such as Burning of the Heretic, which is again going into the religious aspect, but ways of barbarianism is of course resemblant of some of the different torture tactics or some of the different ways in which humans have just been absolute conquerors, not to mention destroyers of worlds. This is where the band really shines, is in their lyricism and is in their conceptual realization whenever it comes to lyric development and song development to couple those lyrics. The advent of the two speeds actually gives a lot to this group. It gives them the opportunity to create eerie and very off-putting atmospheres, sinister atmospheres that perhaps you'd see in a horror movie, either that or in a strange, weird offshoot game from Doom or something like that. It really builds an atmosphere of tension and then really exposes itself by gaining all of that velocity and gaining all of that speed throughout the song. It's not something that needs to be consistent and constant. They can build that atmosphere and then just rip-roar through the velocity to really simulate the idea and the concept of insanity. It's something where if there was a psychological horror movie out there, I could expect some of this music to really be a part of it and showcase the main character or the main villain, if you would, going insane and getting lost within his own thoughts and his own phobias, either that or his own disease. This is an album that also flows very nicely. It's curious considering there's a very smooth, a very clean guitar number that ends this album, track number 10, which is only about a minute in length, which, after hearing tracks that range anywhere between 4 and 6 minutes, is kind of a strange way to finish it. But it reminds me of, I think it's Coroner that did something like that. It was another group that was from, that was not from America, either that or, well, it may not be Coroner at all, but I remember another band doing that. It's actually a very nice touch. I kind of dig it, because after all of that, it's sort of this strange little idea that after all that chaos, here's something that's beautiful. It's really weird. Overall, I think this is a good album. I think that the one thing that the band has going for them is the ability to morph their sound a little bit further, based around how these two albums have really gone. Principally because even though this morph has occurred, I feel like the tonal quality and the overall sound has not morphed all of that much. It's just more so been a speed idea and a pacing idea that has shifted mightily for this band. And I'll look directly at Timeless Starvation as a traditional example as to why a little tonal difference makes a big difference, because this is a track that certainly it feels a lot different than the other 9 that are on the disc, and that alone really bodes well for the future, considering if Krisiun decides to continue to write within that direction while also maintaining their classic ideas. The next album has the opportunity to be a really diverse beast, and I would love to see them tackle something conceptual from track 1 all the way to track 10 or track 11, you know. Really go for something that exposes one of these topics and just goes to town with it. But maybe that's a bit of selfishness on my part. Overall, I think the album is pretty solid, but the one lacking is that it tonally does have a lot of similarity to it. So a little bit more diversity will certainly give it a little bit more punch, but still an 83 out of 100 is not bad whatsoever. Definitely not a slouch of an album. A death metal album that if you're a fan of the genre of metal, you should certainly check it out and certainly explore it, because it has a lot to offer. But I want to know what you guys think about Forged in Fury by Krisiun. I want to know if you've heard this yet, and if so, what your thoughts are. And of course, in order to do that, you need to let me know in the comments below. And you should definitely subscribe if you dug this video and gave it a like or something like that, because we do this all the time. And we have a Facebook group as well, over on Facebook, coverkillernation on Facebook, that you should definitely join. And leave me some of your ideas, some of your thoughts, some of the things that you'd like to see in the future. Because we do streams too, we do all sorts of crap. Krisiun, Forged in Fury. Check it out. I give it 2 thumbs up, my seal of approval and recommendation. So go listen to it, and let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later.